want to give each of you, and I'm watching the clock because I'm sure you have other things to do besides talk to two adults. But I just want to give each of you a chance, and this is an invitation, doesn't mean that everybody has to talk, but just to think about what advice you would give to the adults that are surrounding you in your school buildings. What do you think would be good for them to hear as we finish this week of school and think about the days ahead? Because yesterday we had to make that hard announcement that we're extending to the semester. If things get awesome and COVID dies down, then we can always start back in school earlier. But we really think that with the cold season and the flu season coming, that it wasn't, November and December was not going to be a time that we were going to be able to safely return to school buildings. And that's why that decision was made. So we've got a few months ahead of us at least. And I want to just give each of you a chance to just give a piece of advice to the adults around you. And so maybe so you're comfortable, why don't I call on you? If you want to say something, great. If not, just say, I'm going to pass right now, and then I'll go on to the next person. So Talia, I think you were going to start. So
yeah, to parents and teachers and just any other administrating staff, my biggest advice would be to be patient with us. You're learning and we're learning, and it's taken a lot to get mentally used to not having that social interaction and not physically seeing, like at home, like our love languages are words of affirmation and physical touch and hugs and stuff like that, and high fives. And since we're not getting like high fives or encouraging words and stuff like that physically at how we would be in school, I say just be patient with us, and also just be caring and kind, and also just don't put too much pressure on the kids, because then they might retract and might not be able to they'll lose that motivation that they had to start with. So just my biggest advice would just to be patient.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Talia, and also adding on to that, I feel like just keep supporting us and being our motivators. I feel like I know at my school we get quotes sent to us every Wednesday, and it's called Wellness Wednesday, and like they're positive quotes and just positive affirmations, and like you guys will get through the rest of the week. And just like I know sometimes like my teachers are like when we can't find stuff on Canvas, or we're like, oh, there's no assignment here, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't apologize, like we're all learning, we're all trying to grow together. So I guess like we just gotta keep supporting each other and just being here for each other, no matter like how hard time gets.
great. So oh, sorry, Maya.
No, it's okay. She can go.
Oh, you can go.
Okay. For me, I would say just to make a connection with your students, because what I noticed was in one of my classes, the students really enjoyed having the teacher sophomore year, and we have them again senior year. And that was probably the most amount of students that I've seen on a Zoom call with their cameras on. All of the other Zoom calls, they had their cameras off. They weren't really interacting with the class, but this particular class, they really enjoyed having the teacher sophomore year. So just be friendly and have hope, because this is a difficult time for all of us, and just lift up your students, because we're also having a hard time.
Adding on to Maya, I think it's really important, like at like the connection part, like if you see a student that's not as motivated or kind of struggling, like always reach out to them and be, as Talia said before, like be patient, because it's a really hard time for everyone involved. So if you see a student unmotivated, always like reach out and see what's going on.
Yeah, I definitely agree with like centering those relationships. You want to center those relationships with your teacher. You know, when you have a good student-teacher dynamic, when like you're happy to go to that class, and like it feels the same way virtually. Like Maya said, like the teacher who showed all that attention and affection to those students, like they enjoyed having their cameras on. And I felt the same way in one of my classes as well. Like, all the students had their cameras on, and she even asked them to, but they just wanted to interact with the class. So definitely just centering those relationships like you would at school, helping your students, centering their relationships with each other would like be really beneficial because of virtual learning.
Jocelyn, anything?
I definitely agree with everybody else. Always provide support and being patient towards others, and also being very considerate, seeing as how we are all within different work environments, and now that we're at home, it's important to have that consideration towards others.
Thank you. Diego?
My advice to teachers and administrators would be keep our current situation in mind. We're currently going through a national pandemic. Our seniors have to grapple college applications when many of them didn't take their tests, when they can't perform their extracurriculars. We have to grapple with the idea that we may not have this celebratory year that we've been waiting for 10 plus years now. And it's a lot. It's draining physically, emotionally. I believe Sunday marks the 6-month mark of us being trapped inside our houses. And so I'd ask that when teachers and administrators are making decisions, that they keep in mind that as hard as the teachers are working, the students are probably working just as hard, trying to adapt and trying to find the motivation to keep going.
Thank you, Diego. True?
So what I would say is understand our circumstances. Understand that there's students that aren't the only ones in their homes trying to do online work at the same time. Understand that we might not all have good Wi-Fi connection, so we might get kicked out of the Zoom. Or even understand, like for me personally, I have to help 3 other kids get logged onto Zoom, so I might be a little late to your class because their computer isn't working or something like that. Like, just understand that we're all in this like together, and we might have other people that we're trying to work with at the same time, and we want to focus on your class, but we have to be sometimes even step up. Like, my parents don't know much about technology, so I'm the one stepping up, having to help my younger siblings with homework, having to help them just get on classes, having to help them even like learn how to email a teacher if they need help and stuff. So I just really think they need to step back and realize that if we're not doing something like the way they think we should be, to maybe ask us instead of like saying like, you're never in my class, or you're like not being attentive, or you turn your camera off. But like most of the time that's me like helping the younger ones, like getting back on Zoom, or like even my Wi-Fi just like cuts out and I'm just like trying to get back in, but I really can't. So I just feel like there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And if teachers just like think about those things and just understand those things while we're learning, then maybe we can have like a more successful learning period.
Well, I am so grateful that the 8 of you came to do a discussion. I have to tell you, this hour will be the best hour of my entire week. It's kind of been a hard week, I have to admit. There's been some really hard, I've gotten a lot of angry emails from people. And so to end the week, well, my week's not quite over, a few more hours, but to have this time with you really, really is uplifting to me. And so thank you for being your authentic selves and for having such awesome advice that we can use. I know one of the things that Miss Lavelle and I will do is I'm thinking about like kind of top 10 things that students suggest that we could put together from the advice that you've given, to literally like by Monday, email out to the school principals so that they can share with their teachers, acknowledging the 8 of you that have come together to give that advice and to really share your perspective. And so we'll share with you whatever we create, but know that something immediately is going to be created from what you've shared.